Look, all I'm saying, according to this bill, if their age is on the clock, they're ready for the Glock. Anywho, kids with guns. That's what we got to talk about today. That's what we have on the table. And I know, at one point, it may have only been a song about, you know, kids with guns by the Gorillaz. But today, that is not the case. Today, Missouri is voting against banning children from carrying guns in public. Why kids would need guns in public is beyond me. But, we're going to go ahead and get into the bill and see why that is here in a second. But first, we have a couple of pieces of fan art to showcase. This one is from Worthless. It said, Mew Suris, raccoon, not endangered, just vibes. Aww. This is a very cute outfit. And I hate, y'all, I hate how much I want this as an outfit as well. God damn it. Damn it. I don't have the money for all these outfits. I don't. The next one we have from Worthless is my interpretation of Black Hole Chan. She has a death from Puss in Boots personality in my head. Tried to put a bit of natural flab, but I don't think I did it correctly. You know what? What's funny, I actually just got done watching Puss in Boots. Literally finished that 2 hours ago. And that movie was fantastic. And Black Hole Chan having like the juxtaposition between like comforting mommy and also death. Yeah, no, I could see it. I can see it. No, I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm just going to say I understand where the furries are coming from. I get it. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get into today's topic after you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. Please hit it. So, Missouri votes against banning kids from carrying guns in public. Let's go ahead and see what the hell's going on here. Republican-led legislature rejects measure to prevent minors from carrying firearms in public without adult supervision. The Republican-led Missouri State House on Wednesday voted against banning minors from openly carrying firearms on public land without adult supervision. So, can I ask you a question? For what purpose does a kid need to be just openly carrying a gun? I'm sorry, I'm not willing to say that a child is responsible enough to openly carry a gun. I mean, hell, most adults are not responsible enough to openly carry a gun. But, the proposal to ban kids from carrying guns without adult supervision in public failed by a 104 to 39 vote. Only one Republican voted in support. A Democrat, Donna Beringer, said police in her district asked for the change to stop 14-year-olds from walking down the middle of the street in St. Louis carrying AR-15s. Now they've been emboldened and they are walking around with them, Beringer said, until they actually brandish them. And brandish them with intent, our police officers' hands are handcuffed. In 2017, Missouri lawmakers repealed concealed carry requirements in most situations. The measure was part of an hours-long debate in the best way to fight crime, particularly in the St. Louis area. The Republican Lane Roberts, a former Joplin, Missouri police chief and state public safety director, initially included the restrictions on children possessing guns in a broader crime bill, which the House voted to give initial approval. But lawmakers on a House committee that Roberts leads stripped the provision on guns last week. Okay, so what that means, basically, is that there was a larger bill that had, hey, kids shouldn't carry guns as part of it. It was ripped out of that bill so that the bill could go through as it was without the added pork fat, I guess. And then the pork fat was turned into its own bill trying to ban kids from carrying guns. And then that bill gets struck down by Republicans on its own. So it couldn't function when put into another bill that was going to go through, and it couldn't function on its own. How hard do you have to fight? How hard do you have to be fighting to have kids have guns to knock out that bill twice Functionally. The fuck? Every time we talk about the provision related to guns, we knew that was going to be difficult on our side of the aisle, Robert said. Republicans decried the effort as an unneeded infringement on guns rights. Son of a fuck shit, guns don't have rights! Guns don't have rights. I'm sorry. I don't like it when we start talking about gun rights as the conversation. I believe people should be able to own guns, yes, but I feel like when we're talking about gun rights specifically, we almost always start getting into this weird nebulous territory where it feels like we're trying to give the guns some kind of power. Also, hello, child. Hello, baby bean. How are you doing? How are you feeling? You are very, very cuddly right now. Hi. Why are you so cuddly? Growly is being such a baby bean. Give that kid a Glock before they hit the development. Look, all I'm saying, according to this bill, if their age is on the clock, they're ready for the Glock. It goes on to say here, while it may be intuitive that a 14-year-old has no legitimate purpose, it doesn't actually mean that they're gonna harm someone. We don't know that yet, said Tony Lavasco, a Republican from the St. Louis suburb of O'Fallon. Generally speaking, we don't charge people with crimes because we think they're gonna hurt someone. Okay, my guy, nobody's talking about charging people with crimes because they think you're gonna hurt somebody. The crime would literally be the carrying of the thing as a child. As a kid, you don't have a reason to be carrying a gun around. It's perfectly fine to have a law on the books that says that, hey, kids don't carry guns around. It's fine. That's fine. Other provisions in the measure would allow the governor to appoint a special prosecutor in counties with high crime rates, a provision targeted at St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner. Republicans for years have criticized Gardner, a 47-year-old Democrat first elected in 2006 as St. Louis's first black female prosecutor. She is one of several progressive prosecutors elect in recent years with a focus on creating more fairness in the criminal justice system. Republicans say she's not doing enough to fight crime. And I'm just surprised I haven't been yelled at for Shopkeep Chan's big money bags yet. Stoff, I'm not going to yell at you for Shopkeep Chan's money bags. I'm simply going to show it to everybody on stream so they have to deal with it the same way I did. I'll be right back. I need to let Growlith outside. So, I guess y'all are just going to be stuck with this. Y'all are going to be stuck with that for a little bit.
A few moments later.
Okay, Growly has been let outside. Your ball's gone quiet. What? Anyways, y'all are so weird. Reading on here to Stu. Hope you appreciate this article. Okay, so that's the end of the... Actually, that was the end of the article, huh? Okay, fair enough. I guess we got to talk about that then. We got to talk about that. So, I have to wonder... In your mind, when a 12 to 14-year-old is walking outside and they have a gun, what runs through your mind? Like, why do they need it? For what purpose are they doing it? It's one thing to be like, hey, they're going out to the range, but if that's the case, then you don't need to be open carrying that gun. That gun should be locked in a case, and then that case should be opened when you get to the range. You open carry a gun, or you carry a gun with you as a form of self-defense, or showing that your penis is incredibly small. One of the two. Red Joker says unsafe area. So here's the thing. I do not trust children. Again, I don't trust most adults with this, but I do not trust children to have the understanding of what that gun's going to do. I do not. 12-year-old walks around and they just happen to have a revolver with them. I'm sorry. That revolver does not need to be in that child's hand. It does not. I do not care the caliber. I do not care the make or model. I simply think that a firearm, not counting something like airsoft or BB gun, should not be in the hands of a child unless there is adult supervision around. Somebody to tell you, hey, here is the safety, keep it on, and please learn some fucking trigger discipline, you child. Paintball gun, paintball gun's fine. Said bad area, call the parents, call the cops. Look, if you're worried about it being a bad area, and I can understand that, if that's going to be the argument, I grew up in a bad area as well. I grew up in Montclair in Pensacola, Florida. I can give you stories of me getting mugged. I can give you stories of me having to detour myself around various parts of the neighborhood when walking home from school because there were two opposing gangs literally staring each other down, and there was no way to know if shit was going to get bad. Like, I can give you those stories of shit happening. I do not think any of those situations would have been improved if I had a firearm. As a kid, I don't. Man of the Black says, I keep seeing 20-year-olds who can't handle keep the booger hook off the bang switch. Why would I trust a 10-year-old to handle that? Yep. Also, a criminal sees a kid with a gun and may think free gun. Yeah, and again, like, you run into issues as well. If there is a high likelihood that kids are walking around with guns, then there is a high likelihood of kids getting shot when they are carrying fake guns. I have, in fact, actually, I'll pull it down real quick. So, I'm going to go and turn on my camera for a sec. This right here, this is a Nerf gun, okay? It has Nerf, well, it's not Nerf, it's Dart Zone, but it has a chamber here for basically just little darts. This right here, painted the wrong color, and at a distance, can be very easily mistook for something that it's not. But again, it's just a regular old Nerf gun. Doesn't matter, though. The dart flew back. But something like that, that's a DZP. It's a Dart Zone Pro. And I love it. I think it is a very, very comfortable Nerf gun. However, with a toy like that, while you could say, hey, it's on the manufacturer for making it in a make and model and style that looks more like it's real and that's bad, I can understand that argument, but at the same time, by increasing the likelihood that kids will walk out with guns, you will increase the likelihood that cops are having to be on the lookout for kids with guns, and therefore they will be more vigilant towards kids with Nerf guns. And kids that are very heavily entrenched in Nerf hobbies will probably be picking up the more realistic looking Nerf guns because Dart Zone makes more realistic looking ones, and they, quite frankly, perform better than anything Nerf has made in the last 10 years. Airsoft guns already are shaped and usually painted to look like real guns. Now, anybody who's actually handled a real gun can look at one of them and say, yeah, no, that's not real, orange tip aside. But at a distance, when your fight or flight is kicking in, that's not going to matter. That's not going to matter the same way. Republican lawmakers are the types of people to constantly bitch about protecting the kids from drag queen performances, but when it comes to protecting kids from shootings, they're not willing to do basic gun laws to try to keep more guns out of the hands of people who might end up harming kids in a school shooting, but they're not even willing to accept basic-ass gun laws that would prevent kids from holding the guns. Responsible adults having guns? Sure, fine, whatever. A 14-year-old is not a responsible adult. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure if you're Matt Walsh, you might think a 14-year-old is a responsible adult, but I'm sorry. If their age is on the clock, that does not mean they're ready for a Glock. Said this is another parents' rights issue like child marriage. Ay, ay, ay. Even with the orange tip, cops will still kill, and historically they have. I say this as somebody who was handling firearms from the time that I was 13. I say this as somebody whose uncle was a police officer, and he let me handle revolvers and 9mm, and I went to the range with my friends and handled rifles. I literally earned a marksmanship award from Camp of the Pines, though of course those aren't full-ass firearms there, but the point is that whether it was a BB gun or an airsoft gun or a Nerf gun or various real guns of various calibers, I was handling those things as a kid for a long time. And I still don't think it would have been responsible to literally just let me have a gun and walk around, especially in my fucking neighborhood. Absolutely not. You can make an argument that this is something that a law shouldn't have to exist for, and I can understand that argument. But like with warning labels, a lot of times laws end up existing because somebody somewhere fucked up. And I mean, we literally recently had, what was it, a 6 or 8 year old shoot their teacher. I forget which state that was in, but like we're literally seeing shit like this happen anyway. These laws exist for a reason. They are being proposed for a reason. It's not out of the blue. Tiny Suris with an M14 carbine is scary to imagine. I never handled an M14 carbine as a kid. Nami says, on the way to work, so we'll be lurking on my PC at home. Gotcha. But I do remember using rifles that my friend Tony, his dad had, and I needed to have shoulder straps or shoulder pads to use them, because otherwise, with my frame, they would have dislocated my shoulder. Had my first time able to catch a stream. How's it going, Danny? How you doing? You know, the kickback is killer on some of those things. You know, that's where I stand on that. That's where my opinion is, where a lot of that shit is concerned. The kids don't need guns. Come on, guys. I feel like I don't advocate for common sense, because common sense is a myth, but please understand what I mean when I say common sense dictates kids should not be carrying around guns. Not without adult supervision. Don't think I need to explain this further. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. All that other fun stuff. And as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.